As we move forward in a world where climate change and global warming are becoming truly big and prominent issues, is it safe to say that the sole reason these problems are arising are because of emissions? In the LA Times opinion piece titled, "Climate Change Isn't Just About Emissions, We're Ignoring a Huge Part of the Fight," written by UC San Diego professor David Victor and climate researcher Virahabhadram Ramanathan. They highlight the challenges in meeting global warming goals and the lack of investments in adaptation efforts. However, through the article, there seems to be a sense of unproductive discourse. First, though, we'll look at what well, sorry. First, we'll look at what the author thinks about the goals that need to be met to combat the negative effects of climate change. Soon after, we'll see the author's stance on where global warming spending is going towards. And finally, we'll see what the authors believe will be a more productive way to use those funds. Firstly, what is unproductive discourse? To understand that, we have to understand first what productive discourse is. According to our textbook, public speaking and democratic participation. Public discourse is as the following: active engagement in civic life by talking and listening. It reflects sound reasoning. It has learning in the public good amongst its highest ideals. In contrast, unproductive discourse is designed to promote division and to misrepresent the complexities of public issues. Firstly, the article diminishes, sorry, that's not the right word, dismisses the goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius as a fantasy. Here's the quote. They simply say in the article that that goal is a fantasy. Such language not only undermines the collective efforts of scientists, policymakers, and activists, but also discourages meaningful dialogue. It is unproductive to label ambitious goals as unattainable without offering constructive alternatives or solutions. Secondly, the article criticizes climate spending for primarily focusing on emissions reduction rather than investing enough in resilience and adaptation projects. They say, the unprecedented climate spending primarily focus on reducing emissions, which essentially is to acknowledge areas for improvement in climate funding priorities, framing them as a dichotomy between emission reduction and adaptation overlooks the interconnectedness of the efforts. Effective climate action requires a balanced approach that addresses mitigation, adaptation, and resilience comprehensively. Thirdly and finally, the article argues that investing in adaptation projects makes good economic sense, saying, and repeating myself, investing in more adaptation projects makes good economic sense too. While this is a valid point, the tone of the argument implies a trade-off between economic benefits, environment, and environmental stewardship. This binary framing perpetuates a false narrative that we must choose between prosperity and sustainability when in fact these goals should go hand in hand. Instead of fostering constructive dialogue and promoting collaboration, these examples of unproductive discourse contribute to a polarization and inertia in addressing climate change. It is crucial to move and beyond diverse rhetoric and embrace a more nuanced and inclusive approach to climate action. We must recognize that the challenges posed by climate change are multifaceted and interconnected. We cannot afford to dismiss ambitious goals, pit emission reduction against adaptation, or frame climate action solely in economic terms. True progress requires us to engage in constructive discourse, bridge divides, and work together towards a sustainable future for all. Thank you.